Boom, shaka. This one is going to be a little bit uncomfortable, but guess what? Who gives a damn as long as it is going to help you to do something for yourself and have the audacity to make something happen for yourself. That is all that matters. Sometimes your test is your testimony. Sometimes because you've decided to become the person who changes a generation, then you're going to have to pay the price. You're going to have to do things that you're not accustomed to doing. You're going to have to step up in ways that you've never stood up. But guess what? That is what it takes for you to get to the next level. With that, I want to talk to you today about the reasons why you're not able to attract your perfect clients, okay? And you might be doing everything right. You might be doing everything right. You have copied and pasted. You're doing what everybody else is saying, but somehow something is just not clicking the way it's supposed to click, and you're wondering why, all right? And let me just give you a quick story, okay? When I started my life as a leadership trainer, a leadership coach, and a sales coach, my first few years were really tough. They were really hard. The results were, up and down. They were lukewarm. Actually, there's a time I started and I got what is called beginner's luck. I got a lot of that, and then all of a sudden reality kicked in. My friends and recommendations were dying out because now everybody had spoken about this new guy in town was doing this stuff. Then it had died down. Now it had to be based on my business had to be based on results, and those were far between. There was not many coming in, and I took a step back and said, look, dude, what's going on here? Okay, I had so much stuff. I thought I had quite great information, but somehow it just wasn't working. I wasn't getting the results. And then I realized it's like one of those light bulb moments. Okay, I went for a session one day and I said, I'm not going to follow the script. I'm going to follow my heart. I'm not going to follow what the slides are going to say. I'm just going to follow my heart. And I somehow all my NLP stuff came up, my hypnosis stuff came up, and I just taught from my heart. And the first thing I did for 4 hours was to deal with the human being, with the person, with their stuff, so to speak. I tell you, it's the greatest discovery in my journey as a world-class speaker trainer, because the moment I started to do leadership trainings and culture change and turning businesses around, every time I went, the first thing I dealt with was personal stuff. I did personal development disguised as, the foundations. I used to do the 4 steps to success and the 5 C's and stuff like that. And all of a sudden, I started to get amazing results. Companies started to do 10, 15, 20 times. I became the new kid on block. I was getting, called left, right, and center, traveling across the world because of that one thing. Now, the reason why is this important? You must understand that sometimes it is not what you are doing that is the problem. It is what you are not paying attention to. The inside stuff, okay? Your energy, your values, your thoughts. If you're going around and you're not consistent and your energy is the wrong energy, and you're coming from a poverty mindset and you're attempting to attract clients, it's going to be tough. I know, because I've been there. Okay, you got to be able to shift everything to that mindset of attraction, but most importantly, a mindset of abundance. With that mindset, if you put the rest of what I'm going to share with you, then you will begin to attract the clients that you ought to be attracting. Next, the reason you might not be getting the clients that you need is clarity. You must have clarity of who. You must have clarity of who. I cannot emphasize that enough. Every talk that I've ever had my mentor talk about, well, not one of my mentors, but also he's a product of a guy called Dan Kennedy, who is the godfather of direct response marketing. And the number one thing he says, the what you sell and what is not as important as the who. You must identify who it is first. Okay, so the reasons you're not able to attract your ideal client to your high ticket offer is because you haven't identified who that person is. Because when you do, and coincidentally, about not so long ago, on my phone, I was having a conversation with one of my students, and she was saying, "Hey, listen, I'm really struggling with something." I said, "What is it?" She says, I am afraid I'm doing so much. I know in my heart I need to niche down, but I'm afraid I might lose out." And I said, but you know exactly what the problem is. The problem is you don't have clarity of who you're serving. Therefore, you're not sure about the kind of message you're putting out. And because you're not sure, the message that you're putting out is half-hearted. Therefore, there's no congruency. The people who you need cannot come to a person without certainty and congruency. All right. So you got to have certainty. Number two, your targeting is off. You're targeting the wrong people. Okay. The reason you might not be getting high ticket is because you're targeting the wrong people. Okay. Somebody did another friend of mine called Cobus. Cobus is an amazing friend of mine. I was his student. He became my student. We became buddies. Now we're coach partners. Okay. And not so long ago, we're having a conversation, okay, especially mid COVID, and it was tough, and he had been studying and was telling me, Phill, what do we need to do? What do we need to do? We're struggling. I said, yeah. He said, but I learned something. He said, one of the reasons that you attract the wrong people is because of your values. I said, what are you talking about? He said, if your values are A, B, C, D, and you're attempting to attract people who have got E, F, G, I, it is not going to work. They won't be able to pay for your high ticket. I said, what are you talking about? I don't get it. Values, I did values in NLP and all this stuff. I'm just wondering what you're talking about. He said, listen, he told me, okay, tell me, what are your top values? Okay. I said, my top values have always been the same: family, hard work, making a difference, helping other people up, and leaving the next generation better off. Okay. They have changed, somehow a little bit, but those have always been the way they are. And he said, okay, and what does your target market statement say? It says, oh, helping struggling consultants to step up. And he said, say it again, helping struggling consultants. You're attempting to get struggling consultants. They're struggling because they're not doing something. Now you are attempting to help the people who you actually don't want to help. The values were not connected. You're looking for struggling consultants and you expect them to pay you $5,000, but they're struggling. He said, you tell me. And then we went through, he said, how much have you spent on training in the last 3 years, in the last 4 years? You paid me $10,000. You went to Tihaveka, you went to the US, you went to all these places. You have invested so much in yourself, but you're attempting to attract people who have not spent $500 on their learning. They're struggling. Therefore, it's not matching. The targeting is wrong. So you think about it. You want to bring in amazing high ticket, but you're targeting the wrong people. Of course, it's not going to work. Of course, it's not going to work. Next, your hook and authority are not great. What do I mean? What you are using to hook them into your system is not sharp enough to hit them. It's called kick them in the knee where it hurts. Okay, is to amplify the pain so that they can say, you know what, I want that because damn, I'm sick and tired of where I'm at. Okay, if it's not strong enough, if it doesn't kick them in the knee, then of course you're not going to be able to attract them. And then of course, authority within the niche. You must be able to create some kind of authority with results, with testimonials, with the way that you hold yourself. Don't go to sell a Mercedes-Benz driving a Prius or whatever. Okay, you got to present yourself as a person who actually can not only provide the value for $5,000, but go beyond what that person is. And then finally, it is I'm going to repeat it again, but from a different point of view, because sometimes people don't get it. It is your internal shit. Okay, you got to deal with your internal shit. Your what is the word? Where you don't feel you deserve. Until you get rid of that, there's no way you're going to be able to attract those clients. Okay, so I hope that video serves you. I hope that you go and think about what I've just said to you. And if you agree with it, great. If you don't agree with it, still think about it. Okay, if you don't agree with it, I hope you're attracting them and or you find a solution out there. But I know from what I've shared with you, at least in there, you're going to be able to pick something. Okay, so there is going to be the next video up here, which is going to be talking about the criteria for getting the right clients. And then of course, on the channel, there's so many other videos about what you got to do when it comes to you making a great offer, because that is also crucial. Understanding the psychology of a great offer so that people can then be able to buy in and or sell themselves what it is you're selling easier, quicker, and in a happy state. All right. So peace.